Metafix is a show that teaches you how to think in the metagame. I am not here to give you the answers, nor am I going to tell you how to win. Metafix teaches you how to play in the metagame and how to react around the metagame and what is in the metagame. If you're looking for the answers, try HC Realms, check the forums, they have all kinds of neat toys and tools and teams being brought up, and check the results of a lot of the ROC tournaments or any Worlds tournaments to see how teams played out and what teams were used for. I'm just here to help you think.
New set's out. You guys love it when I do this episode, so I'm going to do this episode. So what is the world's finest of the world's finest, you ask? Well, let's find out, shall we? So going into the metagame, we're in a weird spot. So I have to kind of future-proof this episode. So I'm going to be talking a year in advance as well. So hello from the future there. I did cover some of the topics for you guys. So let's get to it. First thing I want to cover is in the current realm of the game that we have right now, the current existence of entities and the current existence of batteries, they're unavoidable. But one character kind of stands out right now with the existence of Zdara still out there is figure number 001, the Superman. Now why, you ask? Well, for one, Adara offers up Defend. So this Superman coming with 19 defense gets Defend. Now, Adara's change, or the entity change in general, says tiny characters can't be equipped with the entities anymore. That's an important factor as to why I'm thinking this through here. Adara gives this guy Defend, which allows him to share his 19 defense with characters around him. But this character also allows, or gives characters adjacent to him +1 defense. So now he's sharing his 19 defense and giving +1 defense around him. There's your 20 defense right there. Not a bad option. Also, on the obvious side of things, anything from the chase selection, which I don't have in great abundance. I have 3 right now. We have 3 more that we have to get our hands on. I haven't even put any effort into it, I'm going to be brutally honest. I am so slow on this set right now because of the opens that are coming up. We're going to be opening so many packs, goodness knows what I'm going to get out of those, right? So, a couple that stick out to me. I don't have them, but the Green Lantern is really going to make a mark out there, especially on teams with a great abundance of wild cards. Why, you ask? Well, that Green Lantern, they just so happen to give the JSA team ability to, if I heard correctly. I don't have it in front of my face, so if I'm wrong, Flash, I'm wrong, underneath me, please, Amber. But being able to share 20 defense from that guy is amazing, and especially if the only requirement for entry on that is being a wild card. That's pretty bonkers. But as well, Shazam sticks out to me because of his ridiculous movement. We're talking about a 15 movement with hypersonic, an 11 attack, 4 damage with super strength, which really needs an answer on the WES, guys. Also, Amber, Flash, if there's a rule underneath. I really should have waited for this episode. The only downside to these Kingdom Come characters, these ones specifically, the chases specifically, their stats can't be modified except by powers coming from characters with the Kingdom Come team ability. So that is an important element that works both ways. So they're defended from Outwit, Perplex, etc. from your opponent unless they have the Kingdom Come team ability. As well, the new Kingdom Come team ability gives you this neat evasion that works at range, but only works against characters who don't have the Kingdom Come team ability. It is a weird combination of kerfluffles that they're great until they're across the board from another one. Then they're still great. It's just a matter of who's going to outplay the other one. So, yes, the Kingdom Come characters all kind of have their place in the game. They all also have this really, really small dial, either 35, 25, 30 points, all very small, have varying uses that will see some play, and you will prop away your critical hits because of it. That's just a heads up. You're going to probably... It's a scary thought where, oh man, if I stick with this critical hit, I'm going to do extra damage. But that Kingdom Come guy is going to show up, and they have no bad clicks. It's a really important aspect of them. Every single one of these characters, though they all are very short dials at 7, 6 clicks, they're all pure quality, which is what makes them even scarier. So, Kingdom Come, guys, yes, they're going to make a mark. They're going to be heard from. Before I get into other things, I want to have some honorable mentions. I really like Night Lantern. And in the current state of the game right now, I can see a few characters you can amalgam with, but if you use him and an amalgam, he's taking up 175 points of your team. Which means you either have to do a lot of work to make the Night Lantern amazing, or you need to put a lot of guys on your team to justify things. And when you're doing that, you're limiting who you can amalgam with because the amalgam has to go on somebody who isn't Night Lantern. So I want him to be great, but eggs, baskets, you know what I'm saying. Mr. Nobody is cool, really difficult to get a handle on until you enter him into the constructed game, where powers like Precision Strike exist. So once you pass that shape change, whether you've outwitted it or found a way around it, he is going to turn into a puddle. Though, his power to switch powers, if you can line this guy up, is really good. So, if you can find the way to make him work, in the battery existing world, I can see some power batteries really working well with Mr. Nobody. One that comes to mind, of course, being the green battery. A really strong control team can really make use of Mr. Nobody, turning that charge exploit weakness into enhancement earthbound. The Chief, if Scientist keeps going the way it's going, I think the Chief is going to catch a lot of people off guard with his distance, outwit, and perplex. But that remains to be seen, as teams including Dr. Demonicus and Ant-Man are really kind of making a mark right now. Getting further in, this world's finest figure, I don't see him making his mark very high in the 300 point mark as far as constructed is concerned. The 200, some brave players are going to use it, so be ready for it. It does have some pretty reasonably strong stats. It is very hard to counter, so make sure you're packing some penetrating damage. But that 75 point line, let's talk about this for a second. Remember when I was talking about quality clicks with quality short dials with the Kingdom Come guys? We have the same thing here with the 75 point World's Finest, because he maintains some really, really strong stats for a 75 point duo character. And he does maintain Indomitable and Flight and Super Strength and Charge. So don't discount the possibility of that 75 point dial, man. It's potent. Streaky the Cat, worth mentioning. Got 50 points. You got a kitty with Hypersonic, Precision Strike, 3 damage, and 18 defense with Super Senses. Kitty. Also, adding to those wildcard teams with the Superman allied team ability, her 4 range could self-bust somebody. Now, you're going to start seeing point value shrink on this, and that's kind of where World's Finest in the constructed realm gets really strong. It's got a ton of characters that really fit into the lower end of things. Worth mentioning is Zatara because he's a ticking time bomb for any opponent. They see a Zatara on the board, they either want it dead now or distance themselves from it, because sometimes sacrificing 100 points for a 4 damage pulse wave can go a long way. Plus he's 100 point Mystics with 6 range and relatively reasonable stats, and you can play him one of 2 ways. Both ways are good. So he was worth a mention. Then we get into the lower end. We're now hitting at 70 points, 75 points. Clarion, the Witch Boy. Teakle is a menace. Because, okay, let's get first into Clarion. He's mystical. He's got energy shield with 17 defense, 10 attack with psychic blast, and 2 damage, along with probability control, sidestep, and stealth. So he's hard to get a handle on. He's mobile, and he adds prob to your team with a 6 range already, so he's already at the minimum range. Then you remove Teakle from the board, or from the figure. And Teakle, as far as I'm concerned, has a super senses, even though it's on a 16 defense, that works on anything but a 1 and 2. Because if you roll a 3 or 4, Teakle goes back to Clarion. If you roll a 5 or 6, well, super senses worked. Come on, what are you complaining about? Teakle also comes with a 10 attack, 7 movement with charge, Blade's Claws, 0 damage, but a perplex. They gave this cat perplex. That is potency beyond potency on a character who's basically free and came as a bonus with an already half-decent character in Clarion the Witch Boy. Also worth mentioning, he's mystical. I think the keyword's good. Is that keyword any good, Amber? Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, so let's talk support in the support realm. Now, those of you familiar with the ROC and the no tactics format know that resources generally get replaced with really small characters that add utility to your team. Some kind of stat bonuses. So the Witch, Enhancer, 20 points, additional attack to mystical characters. Pretty alright. Then we get to the Apprentice. 25 points for Perplex. We might be seeing the end of Blind Owl in this as this format kind of gets in there. As the Apprentice has friendly upward Perplex, of course, right? For 25 points with willpower and stealth. Very well defended Perplex. Then we have the Metal Men. And 3 specifically. One of which is Doc Magnus. 25 points of support. We might see the return of the Medic being a standard on teams in the no tactics format, so keep an eye out for that. Then you have really, really low point harassment, like Copper. Copper comes in with plasticity, combat reflexes, and shape change. And if she happens to be near another character with the Metalman keyword, is shape change on a 4, 5, or 6. Think of the potential of just pure harassment potential of holding on to one of your opponent's characters who really wants to be out there. And they're stuck with the choice of hard to hit 25-point character, 18 defense being relatively difficult to hit in most situations. Hard to actually make the attack against, and then it's just not an automatic breakaway. So Copper fits in there as the very low point hugger, as we call it. Now let's talk about the cheapest TK in the game. In 25 points in Mercury. 25 point TK with super senses. That gets a +1 with another Metal Man. Maybe with another Copper. Or stick it out in the back with Doc Magnus. Use him to throw out Shazam. I'm not telling you how to build your team. Now, every so often, also worth mentioning in the support realm, at 50 points is Tin. If you combine Tin with Copper and Mercury, you've eaten up 100 points, but you've got a double Perplexer now. That doesn't work on damage. They all have sidesteps, so their moving doesn't necessarily count towards your actions. Some things to think about in the long term of it. So, next one I want to talk about is sometimes an effect exists. And the character that effect exists on is prohibitively expensive to purchase on the market. I'm talking specifically about Nighthawk Prime. And how Nighthawk Prime, even though he's only 65 points, he just stops your opponent from increasing their stats. Sometimes they make a character available to everybody. And that character does basically something very similar, though not necessarily the same, but just similar enough to make them worth having, make them worth owning. I talk, of course, as I reach into the fast forces of the world's finest set, and I pull out Nightwing. Playable at 75 or 25 points, I suggest 25. The reason I suggest this character, he comes with Stealth and Leap Climb as a special movement power. He comes with Willpower. He comes with a trait. That trait gives him the Wild Card. The Wild Card. Now, being a Wild Card helps you kind of protect them, but also important, he comes with the Outsider's Team ability. The Outsider's Team ability is a 10 range effect that says gives you a free action and target character can't have their stats modified. Now, what makes Nightwing really kind of stand out differently from Nighthawk Prime is it works in 2 directions. If you got an ability, say Transporter as an example, on a character that you want to make that Transporter attack with, why would you risk the 2 attack that you're going to lose? Keep that 2 attack. You got somebody you need to carry, use the Outsiders on that character who's about to carry, they get their full movement now on the carry without the penalty of the -2. Outsiders is very, very flexible in how it can work. And then if you have Energy Shield and I use Outsiders on you, you don't get the Energy Shield or the Hindering Terrain bonus. You get your defense. So, yes, Nightwing, 25 points, consider him. Also, In the no tactics format, special objects are allowed. Got 8 points, bring a weapon drop. Weapon drop has a miasma of powers that can definitely work very well. Though an errata is pending, hopefully, on the functionality of the defense powers. Almost all of the powers are very, very useful from this tool. So it's random. You get to roll a d6, but it can go a long way in making a game go very well for you. We all like Rainbow Raider. Let's talk about his cheap brother and the Crazy Quilt. Crazy Quilt has a similar effect that drops defenses by everybody who has a power or color that he chooses at the beginning of the game. As well, he gets mind control at +2 attack against that same color on characters when using mind control. He also comes with second class. He's 40 points, and if you are really good at analyzing your opponent's card, pay attention to those colors. Watch for those colors. Know some dials. A good example is Bizarro from Slosh, who's still in the game right now. Pick red. He's always got -1 defense. Or if you see that there's a lot of guys on the opposing team with charge and super strength, choose green. That super strength, that charge may go, but the super strength might not go anywhere. And then if the rest of the team happens to have energy shield or showing enhancement or anything of the such, just think to, watch the card, use the card to your advantage, and Crazy Quilt can potentially be very potent for your team. Now, before we get into one last thing, these two, keep your eyes on them, and that is the super rare prime Harlequin and the rare main set Nightwing. The reason you need to keep an eye on these characters is both of these characters basically are able to make attacks without taking actions, and that level of potency is bonkers. Harlequin allows you to drop a Jack in a Box. The Jack in a Box is allowed to make an attack, and I haven't taken an action yet. Nightwing can use sidestep twice in a turn, and he can make an attack as long as you have no action tokens as a free action. Just the potential on that right now is limited because the green power battery exists, and I hate having to work around that thing. Green power battery exists. I'm sorry, guys, but in a year it shouldn't. Won't. And with that gone, these two characters can really, really start to unload on the board. Even White Witch will be gone at the same time as the green battery. Just looking forward to that. So, with all that said, there is one other thing worth mentioning. ID cards. As if we didn't have enough. Look, we know these things are great. And it's worth bringing up the fact that there's a couple of these guys in here that can really stand out as ID characters. One of which is Superman. Now, if you would have asked me a year ago, or prior to Superman Wonder Woman coming out, how useful the Superman ID card was going to be, I would laugh in your face and say nobody's ever going to come out with this. Well, now I can't do that. Because Superman, as an ID card, comes with the real name of Kal-El and Clark Kent. So, do you know who has that? Superman Blue. Superman Red. I think he has Kal-El and Superman Red. Don't quote me on that one. Or he might even have Clark Kent. Clark Kent has Clark Kent as a real name. Tons of Supermen just came out. 4 of them at 90 points, very usable. Superman Blue is 50 points. Clark Kent, 55 points. You've got so many options now with this Superman that you can really, really unleash hell with the Superman ID card. Or find utility that you need out of that Superman ID card. Goddamn Batman. There are so many Batmen out there. As well, there's a ton that just came out at 60 points. Or look back to the Trinity War 85-point super rare. As easy. Now, remember, when I'm saying ID characters, I'm trying to think in the low end so that you can actually make functional use out of them. There's a ton of characters in The Flash now. He even had his own set. Green Arrow is less useful as The 135.1, don't get me wrong, is good. Bringing him out becomes questionable because, you gotta take a high point character, make an action with them. Batgirl's not usable yet. Black Canary, alright. Blue Beetle lets you bring out the new one. Power Girl also lets you bring out Supergirls. Stargirl, we have a couple Stargirls. The Slosh one stands out, the champion made one by Alex Avila. That one's really good. The Trinity War one, not as good, but she's still kind of there. Steel, 140 points to bring them out. Supergirl brings out Supergirl cards. The Atom lets you bring out a Colossal. A 25-point Colossal. Who can the Colossal retaliate? Just keep it close, guys. Keep it close. Keep it in range. But he also does what the Ant-Man special, or the con, or the Ant-Man event ID did, and it gives, you can give character time. Cool. Firestorm, I wish there was some better versions of Firestorm to use with it. Vibe, take a turn, and now your opponent has to take double power actions to take that charge action. Could really wreck an opponent's strategy with the right timing with that. Vixen is alright. Zatanna's also... Red Tornado just needs the main name. Red Tornado, we got the Lois Lane Red Tornado. Imagine the havoc you could wreak just the beginning of the turn with that character. You ID her out, you sidestep, and then you free action Force Blast. My beginning of the turn is still going on. And I've already dealt possibly 2, maybe more damage. Who knows? Martian Manhunter, we do have a version that's playable at as low as 100. 2 versions, actually. We also have the 165-point White Lantern one that just came out. So, Martian Manhunter is on the radar, but again, high-point characters, a little more difficult to bring out. Wonder Woman, she's still kind of in the 100-plus zone. So, and then, of course, there's Green Lantern. There's a lot of characters with the name Green Lantern, but they're not as flexible as, say, the Superman stance. There's a couple ID cards that I didn't bring out of my stack, or didn't bring out of my stack because I don't own them, that can possibly add to things. The inspirations on these guys match up with inspirations that already exist in the game. So if you're looking for one that came on a con ID, or a really hard to get ID card from Avengers side, you might have a chance of getting it from these ones. For instance, the Atom with the Ant-Man was very difficult to get. The common Superman ID card has an ability that was on the rare ID card from Wonder Man. Keep your eyes open on that, guys, because that can really, really help a lot. That said, World's Finest does add... Oh, geez, I just did that thing that I told Amber not to do. World's Finest does add a ton to the game. A lot of it at the low end, some things in the high end. Hopefully, in this post-battery world that I envision, this set will really, really start to get a chance to shine. I'm really looking forward to the metagame ahead of time. I'm really going to try to use the round tables, teleporters, and Pandora's boxes in the future with some of these characters as well. So, with that said, as always, guys, remember, take a chance, use your World's Finest, guys. Crack open a couple packs with some friends and try some sealed. Get all the sealed packs you can because these opens are going all over the place. And remember, it's valuable practice, and practice makes your team better. Married with Clix is brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com. Check out the new premium site with MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. Check the link below. Trust me. Trying to remember that from me talking? Not going to help. You'll get awesome articles at $3 a month, with the first month being free, from amazing writers such as Paris Gordon, Easton Brock, Aaron Cantu. I'm even going to be contributing occasionally. And if you're familiar with the Meta Lab, check out some of Mike Payne's articles. So, check it out again, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders for your look into the minds of some of the greats.